Everybody also knows everybody also knows about TeenBookCloud. Now, why we created TeenBookCloud, we really wanted to have who were used to our, let's say, our interface and our books and who really liked it and it helped them learn how to read. We really wanted to create some continuity for them as they grew up and, increase their skills as they went on to middle and high school and so forth. That's why we created the Teen Book Cloud. So it is exclusively for middle and high school students, so specifically for teens. Now, you're not able to link to Tumble Book Library from this site just because this is a teen-related site versus Tumble Book Library, which is one for K to 6. Okay, now similarly, we have books in a variety of different formats. You'll see your logo here. So when you log in, you'll know that you have the correct account for you. And anytime that we add new books, we put it up front and center. So you'll see new enhanced read-alongs, new graphic novels, Y18, and then as we have other books in other categories, we add them here. Now this year we did add a lot of new graphic novels and we added classic graphic novels. So there might be Shakespeare in here, there might be books by other authors and so forth, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So many other different titles will be available in the graphic novel section for classics. Now, if you have kids that are not so keen on reading those, maybe they will be hooked with a graphic novel. Okay, so here's where you'll see the newer content. Now, in addition to that, in this home page, usually that's where, obviously we put the newer ones, anything new and exciting. We do have subcategories. Now, you might be used to these or some of these might be new to you. If we click on Y18, we have, let me just, there we go. So we might have different categories here as well. So subcategories is what we call them. So we have a high-low books here, adventure, mystery, science fiction and fantasy, historical fiction, and so forth. Now, if I click on any of these, we can just take a look at what a book looks like. And there's a variety of different types of books. So these are categories here, which means subject matter and interfaces, and then types of books, so how they would play. So like the Tumble Book Library, you'll see a short description here. To launch, you can read online, or you can add to favorites actually if you want to come back to it later. So let's add it to favorites and we'll see what that looks like. I added a book earlier and then removed it, so you can add a book and remove as well. Okay. Now, favorites, you would basically use favorites because let's say you wanted to come back to that book another time, or if you want to alert someone to that book and so forth, you can say check out the favorites. Something to note is, I didn't sign on with a second login for myself. Basically, I'm just using the account login. So I took an action basically on the site and included it in my favorites. That is specific to my device. So Tara, you won't necessarily see my favorites. I won't necessarily see yours because they'll be cookied onto the device. Now, if you clear your cookies for your own device, you won't necessarily see them as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, like the Tumble Book Library, we have reading levels. Some of them are quite expensive, so grade 4 to 7. And why we do that is because this book in particular might be used in different ways for different grades. And so you might do different lesson plans, you might look at character development in the higher grades and so forth. So there is a general suggested level from our publishers, and that's what we include here. Okay, and then you have the author, publisher, and so forth. So let's take a look at one of the interfaces. So this is our newer read-along player, or our new player. And basically what you can do is listen to the narration in automatic mode, which we'll hear next, and then you can decrease the narration speed and increase it as well. So let's do that right now.
1. Smash. Even on his 11th birthday, Connor had to walk the dog. It wasn't even his dog. It belonged to his sister. Janie had asked for a dog on her last birthday, when she turned 13.
Okay, now, so that was automatic narration that we set. Now we're going to slow it down a bit.
Not this dog. She wanted a little dog she could carry in her bag, like the celebrities did.
Okay, now we're going to speed it up.
She got was a mongrel from Mangy Mutt's rescue. It was the size of a beagle with the hair of a bad day. What am I supposed to do with this? She whined. Take care of it, said Mom.
And now
Learn
back to the narration.
responsibility, said Dad.
Okay, so you can kind of customize how you're viewing it. Now I have it in automatic mode, meaning that the narration will automatically read and then the page will turn. Here you can actually switch it to manual mode, and this will allow me to basically turn the page whenever the narration stops at the end of this page. Okay, so that gives you some ways to customize. Here we have more customizable features. I can actually increase to full screen or decrease.
If you're trick or
Not full
treating,
screen.
it's kind of hard to, are you on?
I can increase or decrease the text size. So that might be more comfortable for some, or decrease the text size. And then like you saw with the favorites, I can make an action to this book. So I can save a bookmark. I can jump to different chapters and so forth. Okay, so there's different ways that you can interact with the book per se. And if you needed help, there would be a help section there. Okay, so that's what the newer interface looks like. Now we do have books in other interfaces as well, in high-low, for example. So let's take a look at Selfie, that Selfie Girl. So this particular book has added keywords. Now what these keywords do is that they act as searches of sorts. So let's say I wanted to see all books related to poetry. I would click on this keyword, and then I would see all of the books that are related. Okay, so that's one way to keep kids, exploring the site. If they were interested or needed to do a project on a certain topic, then they can explore the site that way as well. Now, at the very top, before we go on, there is a search feature. And if I click on it, you'll see that I can search by various criteria. So I can search by title, by author, by format. This means the different interfaces and subject matter. By tumble time, meaning the narration speed. By Lexile, accelerated reader. Those are the two. Even though we have grade level, you don't search by grade level. You would search by accelerated reader or Lexile, or by keywords. So there's different ways that you can search for content. So in addition to that and the keywords, you also have the different subject matters up here. So let's go back to Y18. Now, this particular one has a different interface altogether. So when it first launches, you will get some instructions here on how to use this interface for an ebook. Basically, you're scrolling using your, let's say if you're on the desktop, you can use the arrow keys. And then if you wanted to see these instructions again, you could always click on the center of the screen. Okay, so I'm using my arrow keys. Now, when I click on the center of the screen, I'll see some information here. I can increase the font size like we did before, jump to different chapters, decrease bookmark, and so forth. Okay, so you have the same functionality. It's just a different type of look. And those were read-alongs that we saw first, which means it has a narration. And these are ebooks, meaning there is no audio to it. Okay, and so those are the different interfaces. So if we're looking at interfaces, we'll see that we have ones with audio, ones without, and we also have audiobooks. So at the very end here, you'll see audiobooks. How are these different? These are solely audio, so there isn't going to be text that you're following along with. If we click on Impossible Music, for example, you'll see there's an indicator here. Instead of it saying read online, it says listen online. So if we clicked on it, this interface looks different altogether, and this is the only text you'll see.
Blackstone Publishing presents Impossible Music by Sean Williams. This book is read by David Linsky. For my sister, Christina, and Rachel.
Okay, so it's solely an audiobook, and that's what it played like. Okay, so we have Y18, and then we also have middle school, follows along the same line with high-low, adventure, mystery, and so forth. Contemporary, and different categories here. Okay, so a mix again of read-alongs and with ebooks. If you wanted a specific title, you could search for them in the index. So if I'm looking at the index, it will give me more information about that particular title. So here I see 1984, and there's audio associated with it. So it's in the AP English section. If I say 1984, it's an audio book. Okay, that means it's just audio. Here, there's audio as well, 1984, but it's an enhanced ebook, meaning it's a read along, and there's audio narration that follows along with the text. So sometimes we have the same title in different formats, and that's if you wanted to know which one you needed, you could look in the index. Now, while we're at the index, you'll notice that there are different what's called book IDs. These are direct links to that title. So if I clicked here 121 Express, you'll notice there isn't an audio icon. So this is solely an ebook. There isn't any audio narration. It's not a read along or enhanced. But I see that I do have this direct link. Let's say I were doing a lesson plan or some kind of promotion for this particular book, and I just wanted to show it rather than having people come to the website first and then looking for it, then you can use that direct link. So you can use them on your social media, on your library pages, school pages, and Google Classroom, Clever, and all of that as well. Okay, so the direct links are actually direct links. Sorry, the book IDs are direct links to those titles. Okay, so we looked at YE middle school. We also, and so if you wanted all of the books with audio narration, we do have that section here, enhanced ebooks. Okay, so these aren't audio books with no text. These are enhanced ebooks, meaning they have text as well as audio. So here we have classics, teen fiction, high-low, and so forth. So you can look at them here. Okay. Graphic novels are hugely popular, and here, as I said before, we have some classics as well as more contemporary type graphic novels, and these will basically, we can click on it and see what it looks like, read online, follow along the same idea as the other type of books. So here, I'm just scrolling along. Now, all of the graphic novels are ebook related, and what that means is that they don't have any audio narration. They are text only. Okay, now while we're here, we'll take a look at a quiz. So most of the books have quizzes or lesson plans or both associated with them. And if I click on quiz, I'll be linked to a quiz to take for this particular title. Now, all of our quizzes are multiple choice. So a full quiz will be 10 to 15 questions, sometimes 20. Our quick quiz will be 5 questions. So if we take the quick quiz and we'll just vary A, B, C, D. So with these 5 questions, you'll see what the results are at the end. So you can retake it if you didn't do so well, as you see here, or I can print the results. So if I'm printing the results, I can actually save them as a PDF if I wanted to save them, or print them on a physical printer. Note that again, I haven't put my name anywhere. I'm taking an action to the site, but it's cookied. It's not kept, actually. The quizzes are not cookied anywhere. They're not kept. So if you wanted to keep them, you would have to print the results and save them. Okay, so if you were planning that out in your classrooms and wanted to assign that quiz and wanted the results, then the students would be able to save it and email that to you after. Okay, so those are graphic novels, enhanced ebooks. Now, in addition to fiction, we also have nonfiction on this site. So we have a dedicated nonfiction section. And here you'll see there are various court cases, things on history, civics, and science, and so forth. Okay, so nonfiction section. And these will basically act as either an ebook or, as you saw, this is an ebook format, or read along and so forth. So there's different interfaces within that section. Next, we have videos. So the videos are also nonfiction. So we have nonfiction and videos. And these are all from Animalogic, and they're just streamed online. So you don't have to download anything. And we can take a look at what one looks like now.
From the mountains in the Sonoran Desert to the foothills of the Argentinian Andes and all the jungles in between, lives a predator perfectly adapted to this wide range of habitats. This lone wanderer prowls the jungles at night, picking up prey with every passing kilometer. This is the prince of the jungle, the ocelot.
Okay, so a lot of the videos can actually be viewed as part of a, let's say, a lesson or just for fun and so forth. So they're not specifically tied, let's say, to curriculum like some of the other books might be, but they could be an add-on for that as well. So if you are looking for books within the curriculum, AP English and Classics site will be best place to look. And here we have American literature, ancient works, and different timelines as well. And like the Tumble Book Library, we do have books in French. So that would be found here in this section towards the very bottom where you see French. So if I were to click on these, the read online, this is going to be an ebook in French. Now this is our older interface and it works much like the other one that we saw where you can bookmark, change the text size, but you can also change the spacing and that font itself. Okay. In addition to that, you can change the background color as well as the font color. Okay, to kind of make it fun or more adaptable to how your site might be. Okay, so that's the last of the interfaces. So we saw that we have all of these different categories. We have about 1,100 or more growing in this collection. And we're always adding new resources as well. So as we add books, we also add quizzes and lesson plans and so forth. Let's say you wanted to look at you wanted to get an idea for whatever standard that you were teaching. So if I go to the Common Core portal at the very top, you'll see that we have different standards listed. So 6RL4, for example, it'll tell me what that standard is. So determining the meaning of words and phrases and so forth. And then you'll see some books that are hyperlinked. So if I wanted to address this particular standard and I clicked on one of our books, Kidnapped, that means that it has lesson plans, quizzes, or both that deal with that standard. Okay, so there's two ways to use the educational resources. You can tie them to the book if you're just looking at the book and wanted them right away, or you can start with your standard and then find books related to that. Okay. Now, towards the very, very bottom, you'll see that there's an admin section, and this is the one I point out because we have information for you to take home if you needed that. Of course, we have the book views, which are fairly good per month and for the last 3 years, but importantly for you, we have marketing material. So here's where we have different icons that you can use on your site or social media, your direct link if you needed it, any kind of that information is here. And at the very top, we have letters to send home to parents or really anyone else. Let's say you wanted to adapt and send that to your staff, you could, and you can change it. So if I click on parent letter for schools, it's a little different than parent letter for libraries, but let's just click on it and see what that looks like. And you see that it's a Word document, so I can change it as I need to. I can add the username, password, or change the look of it, or include any kind of information that we don't already have on there. Let's say I had something, being promoted at the library, the schools, and wanted to include that there, I could. And the link is here if you needed to copy and paste it somewhere. So the link can be found in marketing materials for the whole site, or in index under the book ID for a particular title. Okay, so those are all the features of the TeenBookCloud. I wish I could play all of the books for you, or at least more of the books for you, but I really just wanted to show you the functionality of it today so you can kind of explore it on your own. Like the Tumble Book Library, we do include new books throughout the year, and so please keep that in mind and look at the home page or when we send out newsletters with new content. My collection here will list for you the total number of titles you have, and then in each category. So AP English, we have 230, audiobooks, we have 1,000, and so forth. Okay, so in total, there are 2,300 books in this collection. Okay, so you can click on the logo to go back home at any time. Okay. Now, if you do have any feedback for us, let's say you wanted to see some titles or something that you really use in your state, or in your classrooms and we don't yet already have, please let us know because we can always try and license those for you. That's how a lot of collection is grown, by feedback and different things that customers want to see. So does anybody have any questions? And before people start to log off, I really did want to thank you again for signing on today and for listening and learning a little bit more about the Teen Book Cloud collection.